Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another session of backtesting where I'm going to be backtesting another half month's worth of data. This is episode number 8, I believe, of our backtesting sessions where we are going from 2022 all the way up until 2026 in one single stretch. If you guys are interested in checking out the rest of these videos, it is going to be posted on my YouTube and the whole process will be. And if you guys like this type of content, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you guys do want to get 15% off of your FX replay subscription on a monthly basis every month, use code replay15 and you guys can get that done there. With that being said, let's go and drop in on it. So the last month that we did was May, came out with about 7R. I'm not going to post the second half of the session because I low-key crashed out and I don't like posting my crash out sessions, not going to lie. Makes me feel uncomfortable about it, but fuck, that's what backtesting be making you do, dog. Backtesting really be making you crash out. Didn't really do that well in this month, but still came out with 7R, which is valid, which is nice, you know. 7R, you can't complain about 7R. With that being said, let's drop into it. And yeah, so don't want to do that one. We'll do this one for 10 a.m. Okay. Some of the things that I want to focus on within this session is waiting for all assets to be aligned before entering, waiting for the relevant levels to be impacted before entering, and making sure that all the assets are pretty much heading in that aligned sequence, so to say, together. No hesitation on the continuation entries. And wait for all relevant levels to do the SMT, whatever, fucking, yeah. And yeah, away from that, let's run this. So taking a look here, we do have a consolidation range. Let's start on daily first. Bullish order flow, internal, external liquidity. That's what I want to go and trade here. As you can tell, we are going back up to those levels. We can take notice of this internal, external. Yeah, so expansion through, fire to manipulate, accumulation, retracement, push it back up, and now we want to go back up to those highs. This is also a Monday opening low, and then we are setting the low of the week within this candle. We can take notice that there is this sweep or this expansion back upwards within that 10 a.m. here. 4-hour CISD accumulation. So expansion met with expansion, met with accumulation, met with a manipulation of this low, and now we are expanding back up to this high. That becomes a draw on liquidity in alignment with that next draw on liquidity that is located above us. So I want to go and trade up to this high, and that's over my overall draw of where I want to go. And yeah, away from that, we do have like SMT here, and it is pushing us up to the upside. We can take notice that all assets are about to tap into it, honestly. So it's really just fucking recognizing what is going to happen at this high. I obviously want to go and trade through it and go to the next draw. So what do I need to see as soon as we tap into that high is I need to see some form of different phase, because I can anticipate for a different phase, so that way I can get back on side with it. Here we can take notice that YM is ripping to the downside, and we can see NQ is holding more of the bullish momentum. So now I am keeping my eyes here on NQ for that continuation entry. I do not long at the highest points of day, so we're gonna wait for this phase to pass. So YM does a full reversal. What the fuck? YM is doing a full reversal here. I thought it was just making a deep retracement, but now it hits this low. So there is SMT that's located here, and it's just like down here pointing in the other direction, whatever. So realistically speaking, I would just wait, because we are at the top of this price leg and the top of the day. I would wait for this 15-minute gap to be impacted. Once this 15-minute gap does get impacted, we have the SMT that's pointing us in the upwards direction. SMT, PSP, all that shit, accumulation, manipulation, and now we can possibly see that push upwards or not. Fuck. Well, looks like YM is actually failing to manipulate this low, and YM is actually the leading asset right now, and it is ripping lower. So we are tapping into all of these levels, but it's really showing no signs of rejection. So I can see YM going and reaching to this level down here, going from range low to, or range high to range low, manipulation, expansion, V-shaped reversal. And now we can see NQ is actually following suit. I would like to trade NQ down to this low in order to be that lagging asset logic, and even possibly down to this low after as well for this accumulation, manipulation, distribution. So this is where I would wait for that accumulation. I'm flipping my bias now, right? So here's your accumulation, range high, reversal off that 10 a.m. and now we are pushing lower, 3-minute CISD, all that good shit. So it's like now it's, I guess you could enter here, but there's a problem with this entry is that we are right up against the draw. So there's really nothing there for me. What I would do, because of the fact expansion has already occurred, I would just wait for a 15-minute pullback. So here would be your 15-minute pullback into the range. There's your fill. Looking for an SM, looking for now a, so this is why, right? So we impact a relevant level. We get the different phase and price, which is going to be considered a retracement. We have that C2 looking for the C3 to press me back down to the downside. 3-minute CISD already in full effect. And then this would be your V-shaped reversal where your stops can go to this high, those manipulation highs, and we can short it to that very next draw on liquidity, because this is showing you the failure to manipulate, what is that called? Fucking signatures, right? So that means what? Lower prices. So then your stops can go to break even here. Stops can go break. Oh wait, stops is already break even. My bad. And then there would be your 2R going from range high, range low. 10 o'clock reverses price, but 9:30 reverses here on YM, as we did take a dump here, going from this range high to range low. Obviously, I wanted to be bullish here, but fucking can't deny what the signatures is telling you when it does start dumping like that, right? And we're just still waiting for those things to align for us. And yeah, that's basically what it is. So all it was really 9:30 pushes up into here, get this accumulation. Here's your manipulation. I wanted to see this internal range hold. It got inversed and it just kept dumping. We tap into this level here, which is a relevant level. What can you anticipate when you tap into a relevant level? A different phase in price. What phase in price? A retrace. Retrace where? Into this 15-minute gap, sweeping out the only relative high. What happens after this happens? V-shaped reversal, CISD. After the CISD is in effect, what do? You enter right here, and then you take it to where? Range low. So range low, range high, AMD for you to go and do what? Accumulation, consolidation, manipulation, and then you're looking for at this distribution back down to range low, going from range high to range low, right? And that's basically all it was. And it's the same thing here on NQ, on YM as well. And this is also in alignment with all of this low resistance. I honestly thought we were going up to here, but like I said, this is a very relevant high. So that's kind of why it did have that reaction there, right? So without being said, that's what it do. So we do have a very extreme bearish move within that previous day. Obviously, with that extreme bearish move, I would more so be leaning on a bearish continuation now, right? So with that being said, previous day was extremely bearish. I can see that we did have this extremely bearish candle. 4-hour CISD is located here. My draw on liquidity for the day is going to be considered this low located here. And with that being said, we can see that we have a previous candle, very rejection, not really much. My daily profile is showing me that it is a open high, low. Wait, what the fuck? This is 6 o'clock. Where's the 18? This is 18. Why is this 18? It's not. What? It's saying that this is the daily opening price. Well, either way, I would probably be bearish down to here. Let's just go and skip it to. What the fuck? What is this blue line now? Why are we? What the fuck, dude? Okay, go to next day. Alright, well, nonetheless, bro. Well, that's a fucking trip. Alright, so with this being said, what are we doing? Range high gets impacted. Accumulation, manipulation, looking for the distribution back down to the downside. There is an SMT at that relevant high, and we also have it also sweeping out a very relevant level as well. So with the relevant level, SMT, and the asset setting that manipulation, already reversing price, we can take notice that all of these are heading down in the downwards direction. My goal for the day is to fill this gap. So with that gap, I would like to see it filled. I like to see it get filled there. Hold on. So sorry, I got a text, bro. All right, so everything is it's pretty aligned for us to go down lower, right? 6 a.m. has went and expanded. With the 6 a.m. expansion to the downside, I would really just look for a push back into the range, because if expansion has occurred, which expansion has occurred in the overnight session as well. I hate when fucking 2 a.m. and then 6 a.m. expand like this, because now I'm going to need to see a deeper pull back into the range in order to get on side with these trades. So it's not working out, dog. This fucking computer, bro. I mean, I love this computer, but damn, dude. Give me 1 second. This computer has been through it, dog. I ain't gonna lie. This is my first laptop. It's like my first computer ever in my whole life. I didn't grow up with like computer. My mom never got me one, so this is the very first one I had, and this thing has been working, dog. Outside of trading, not a single clue how to fucking operate a computer. But within like everything I use on a daily basis with trading, dog, I'm a professional, dog. Ain't going front about that. Alright, so seeing that we are a very much expanded, I really can't enter anything down here. I need to see a deeper pullback into the range. Here you can take notice that YM is pushing back into the range. I just don't want to short at the lowest point of this fucking price leg, right? This is impossible. I have to short two lowest points, not at lowest points. I'm looking more so for a pushback into the range, so that way I can frame me a short. Here's YM framing some shorts here. I would like to see this high. I would honestly want to see this high remain, just because it's a very fucking distinct level, right? Oh, it's a 30-minute OB. So with it being a 30-minute OB, I would like to see this range here hold price to the downside, and then that way I can trade down to the lowest point. Here's your 10 a.m. opening price, and we can actually trade this, as this is a lot weaker than NQ or than YM, as YM is pushing a lot more higher into the range. We can trade this on whatever this guy is called, NQ, down to the downside, as we are trading that 10 a.m. opening high, setting the high of that 10 a.m. candle with that 15-minute swing formation. And we can also take notice that we do have this CISD like this already. So with this being said, Kaika, you don't have to feed them, they said. Okay. Raja. Alright. So I would take this just because that 10 a.m. open high low close looks very clean. These highs has been SMT'd as well. And if the asset that's setting this SMT as well is showing me that CISD down to the downside, we can see that we have those simultaneous CISDs. I have been stretching my legs away from simultaneous CISDs, and I think that's kind of a big reason why I've been getting fucked lately, because that used to be one of the things that I used to look for, right? And then just really going strength and weakness from there. Okay, and then your stops can go to break even, because that's the lowest point of the day. And then you hold this to 2R. And then your stops can go to break even, or you could scale in if you wanted to, because we're in expansion of that 10 a.m. candle. Yeah, and then that would be just what your 10 a.m. open high low close. And with this 10 a.m. open high low close, see the high of the 10 a.m. candle, high of the 10 a.m. candle, and we're not trading at the lowest points, we're trading to the lowest points, so that way I can go stops to break even, and that's in alignment with this bearish order flowing market. And then we do want to go and trade this down to ultimately that low there, right? And then that would be your draw on liquidity to fill this gap and that void, right? And that's all it is really just waiting for a 15-minute swing so we can trade back down to the lowest point, not at the lowest point. But yeah, you do have this 15-minute swing here on YM, but why do we not enter on there? For one, it didn't even CISD, and for two, it's like You're at the lowest point of the day, dog. You didn't even see ISD. You can't even enter that even if you wanted to. Right? Cool. Moving on from there, right? So taking a look here on the daily time frame. Again, super bearish day going from, our previous day was extremely bearish, sweeping out that high there. This is going to leave internal range liquidity. With us doing this, this is nothing but a retracement to me. And we can see that the 1800 candles low is not really formed with anything of true significance. We do impact a relative level going from range high to range low. That's my setup, so to say. We do have range high to range low, SMT in between this swing formation. We are making our way back upwards right now. We are trading from internal range of this expansion leg. So we are like everything it's doing right here within this leg here is it did its job. It rebalanced to what's going on? It rebalanced the discount already. So we want to see this 6 a.m. candle actually start to make its way lower. Let's see if we can get that 15-minute C2. So here would be your 15-minute C2, and we are pressing down to the downside. YM right now is looking a lot more bearish than NQ is. So we're going to be more focusing our energy on YM in itself. I do want to be careful about entering right here because this is a very relevant low in terms of all of this. So I am still going to be I'm very bearish to all of this, right? We do tap us into pretty much all the relevant highs here. We have that accumulation manipulation. I'm looking for that continuation signature through these lows in order to get on side with this. So here you could get on side with this trade on YM, as that is your continuation signature. Here's your AMD, and you are forming that sweep there. Kind of a weak closure. I'm not going to front to you. I don't think I'm going to enter it just because of its weakness in it. I'd rather have a full body in order to get on side with this. Yeah, it's a very like indecision type candle and not closing with true intent. So I'm not going to go and trade that. NQ, okay, so we all run back up higher. Let's see if we can get a 15-minute, a new 15-minute swing here. So here would be a 15-minute swing here on YM. So NQ is a lot more bullish than YM is, right? So with that 15-minute swing formation like this, I'm looking for all assets to give me a CISD here in order for me to get on side with any trade so that way I can be aligned together. So no simultaneous CISDs yet. I guess you could say, right? That's a pretty full closure here. And these highs is already SMT'd and shit. I would honestly, if I was to enter here, you could even say that that's a CISD. If I was to enter here, I would just use these full swings. Because here's your CISD on YM, on NQ. Yeah, I'd honestly use the full swings. Or we wait for something more obvious. I would say wait. Yeah, I'm going to wait for something more obvious. So here would be a true 15-minute swing formation. Oh, I got to wait for the second CISD anyway because this is the highest point of the day. Yeah, we're good. Never mind. I'm going to wait. Okay. Actually, this would be your second CISD right here. Okay, so all assets, sweep, CISD, boom, boom. Fuck, I don't know, dog. It just looks like an accumulation, honestly. Yeah, it's just accumulating. Or, hold on. Is this the push? This looks like the push. This is closing with intent, dog. Not gonna lie about that. This is closing with some serious intent. And this is... See if we can get a continuation entry now. Waiting for that 15-minute swing here. Stops would be at break even already, right? So stops is at break even. 15-minute swing. Outside of that gap. 3-minute CISD. Entry. Scale into this position for another 2R. Catch the rest of this continuation. There's your 2R. Does the scale in position work? Okay, 15-minute swing. Ooh, not yet. Oh yeah, actually right now. because this is a 15-minute C3, 3-minute CISD, 3-minute CISD, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Scale into this one, 2R. And that one would have failed. And then you would just stopped out of break even. Just super low in the range. But nonetheless, all I did was really, realistically speaking, I just went and entered it because it closed with intention, right? This is, all of this shit was accumulation, but this closure right here was intention. It's an intentional fucking strong closure through these lows. So with that being said, with that intentional strong closure through these lows, I'm anticipating this high that swept out pretty much everything to be my protected high for us to just continue down for that 2R. That's all it was, right? And basically, like, bias-wise on reasoning why is because previous day expanded fucking hella. There was no pressure to the upside. We are trading internal, external, and it's just like internal, external, and you want to trade back down to all of these failure swings, which is located below. Going from range high back down to range low, all of this low resistance becomes what? It becomes a retracement, right, for us to go and continue back down lower. And then there would be your full TP down to this low like that, right? Now it's really just studying YM to see what does YM do. Is YM going to reverse off of this low, or is NQ going to go and reverse off of this low? Because if it's not, then we can trade YM as the lagging asset to catch up. But it's really going to be dependent on what 930 does. Because if 930 decides, actually, it doesn't even matter. If 930 rips up higher and we do go up, I would honestly want to go and trade external or external internal here. Yeah, definitely trading external internal here, right? So we impact this relevant lows. There is SMT here. We do have these lows, and we have all of this low resistance that is looking like the draw. This high is considered the draw. If I want to go up higher, however, I do want to be sure these lows are pretty close to each other, so that's something I want to be aware of. But if I want to trade up higher, I want to be sure that 930 reverses price, as it is looking like it is right now. So with 930 reversing price, it is expanding up higher. Okay, so we can see that YM is actually like struggling to go higher as NQ is very full and going up to the upside. I'm just taking a look at it, and we do not have any continuation entries here. So I would just wait for some form of continuation entry, or just keep fucking going. What the fuck, dude? Okay, so because expansion has happened, I'd honestly want to just see this 15-minute gap get tapped into. There would be your 15-minute gap tap, and this would actually give me a pretty decent OB to go and draw off of, to bounce off of anyway. As you can tell, this is an accumulation. Here's your manipulation. Looking for this closure over. If we can get a closure over here, this would be perfect. Actually, we have a nice AMD forming on YM right now. So let's see. Oh yeah, this is solid. Very strong closure, so to say. And we could just long this up to 2R. I may not want to long Actually, yeah, no, that's fine, because then we'll go up to this high and we can be stops at break even, because this is also showing you that once we tap into this high here, which is a relevant high, what can you anticipate after tapping us into a relevant high? A different phase in price. What phase in price do we get? More so of a retracement into where? Internal range liquidity, setting what? The low of this 10 a.m. candle with a 15-minute swing. We do have an SMT in between swing formations like this. Not something I'm paying attention to, but something that did happen. And with that SMT between these swing formations like that, we can take notice that this is your 10-15 opening price. Honestly, because that's the new 15-minute low, you could go there, but I'm just gonna go for the full swing because that's my full invalidation, and I'd much rather not have an improper invalidation like that. And we could be, just because that's your push upwards, this would be your 3-minute OB and all that good shit. But I'm just gonna take a long up to this high, go stops to break even as soon as you cross this high, trading from external to internal, daily profile, open, low, high, close. And then we do have these equal highs that's located above as your full TP, and that's also in alignment with my 2R. Stops now goes to break even, and then there would be your 2R, right? So that was a really easy, not really easy, but really good trade, so to say. I traded NQ just because I was looking at NQ. Honestly, I got locked onto fucking NQ. Oh, this is a good reason why I traded NQ. So the reasoning why chose NQ. I'm gonna say it in hindsight is these lows on YM kind of look ass. I'm not gonna front to you. Right? I would much rather see these lows get swept out instead of trying to trade away from it. So with that being said, you can trade NQ. Why? Because you're already within that 15-minute gap and shit. And then this is a very strong V shape. Very strong V shape with a very strong closure. With this strong closure, what else is happening? What else is happening at 1021? A very strong closure. Form of CISD there. What else is happening at 21 is a very strong closure. Not really a CISD, but all assets are very strong closures here. So that's a big reason why I wanted to go just expand or retrace. All this low resistance becomes fucking free game. You know what I mean? For that 2R like that. That's just basically what it is. Expansion away, 930 reverses price. What happens after 930 reverses price? We tap into a relevant level. Don't take anything once you tap into here. Let the different phase pass. What phase do we have? Accumulation or a retracement. Push back into the 15-minute gap. This is also setting that low of the 10 a.m. candle. And the 10 a.m. is also doing what? And a 10 a.m. ICISD. And you can trade that higher. And this is also forming what? The low of that 10 a.m. candle with a 15-minute swing. Right? Cool. Moving on to the next. I got my first 20 subscribers, guys. Sometimes I miss my 1,400 subscribers. And then there's other days where I'm like, fuck that, dude. Honestly, it's just fun. It's so much more fun without 1,400 subscribers because then now I can build it up again. Do I think I can get another 1,400 subscribers? Yeah, dog. Without a fucking doubt, dude. Like, it ain't that hard. Just work harder. As like, if I'm just, because I'm doing this unintentionally and I'm doing this all for like self accountability and shit, then it becomes obvious that you do want, like, it becomes easy to achieve. I guess you could say that, right? But never mind. I'm gonna fucking shut up, right? Here's your SMT fill. Boom, SMT fill. PSP, SMT. Wanting to go up higher. Drawing liquidity is here. Expansion met with accumulation, met with these SMT fucking shits. And I want to trade up to these highs that's located above me. That becomes my draw on liquidity. This is also Tuesday. Monday sets the low of week. Tuesday reverses. So with that Tuesday reversal, we want to go and feed back up into the range and at least into these highs that's located to the left of us. YM does look a lot better for longs just because it got so much it has a lot of highs to go and trade too. So with that YM, I may be wanting to trade YM rather than NQ just because targets are better. So YM is making a move down into this internal range a lot deeper. We do want to see like a 15-minute swing formation get formed here. You do not want to trade away from these equal lows like that. We'd much rather see those lows get swept. Ah, fuck. I guess we're trading away from equal lows. Damn. Okay, well, that's cool. With this being said, looking like YM is now switching strengths, right? YM is switching strengths from internal to external, going up to all of this low resistance here. I am not allowed to trade the first CISDs whenever it does happen. I need to trade the continuation entry. So I'm looking for a continuation entry here. I don't really want to trade NQ as it is very high in the range right now. More so would rather wait for like a 15-minute gap to be tapped into. I really wouldn't want to go and just jump into anything on NQ. So here would be like your push down. YM falling apart. YM definitely falling apart. This SMT really does look like it's holding price down to the downside as NQ is reversing off of this high with heavy displacement, 3-minute CISD and 3-minute OB. 10 a.m. candle really failing to go back upwards. This high is getting a V-shaped reversal signature off of it away from those highs. YM is tapped into a very relative level and reversing price off of it. I think I'm going to flip my bias here. If we keep going lower. Okay, so we're not going lower. I'm going to remain bullish here. I do want to take notice that we are sweeping out a low here, setting this low with a 15-minute C2. That's your 10 a.m. low that's getting flipped with 10 a.m. C2. And now I would just be looking for some form of continuation entry here. You could enter right here. Or do we want to enter on YM as YM? We'll enter on YM because YM has the available draws still, right? YM has the available draws, and YM is showing those the strength swing signatures that it wants to be bullish here with that V-shaped reversal. I'm gonna go for YM just because those available draws is a lot cleaner than NQ could be considered. What could NQ be doing? Consolidating, waiting for YM to catch up, as this V shape is very clean and we can take YM up to where all of this low resistance liquidity, going from range lows and wanting to push this back up to range highs. So let's see, not for 3R, 2R, right? And then we take this and see if YM gives it to us, and then we get swept out. Fuck. Well, looks like we're just accumulating. I'm just going to leave it alone. If we're going to accumulate like this and not go anywhere, I'm just going to leave it alone. Right? Just looks like ass from there. Yeah, leave it alone. Once you see that, it's just like, dog, it just gets terrible. And this is just a whole ass accumulation day. Why did it accumulate? No idea. Why did we miss this high? No idea. Looks like we're just fucking around. You know what I mean? Failures. That's all it is. It's just a failed setup. That's cool. Walk away. Sometimes I just feel like walking away from one loss. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Extreme bearish momentum now. I will say we are not trading back up to these highs. We are definitely going lower, and we are failing to manipulate this low, which is telling me that we should probably go to the next low over. So with this being said, we are not going back up to these highs. These highs are very aggressively expanding away from it. So with this being said, the high of day is getting set with this AMD, and we can take notice that we expand through. So what I would wait for would be more so of a pullback into the range to form me a new swing. As you can see that this is the high accumulation, manipulation, distribution. I'd much rather get a retracement back up into the range in order for us to frame a short back down to the downside. And let's see if we can get on side with something here. I wouldn't want to trade this because this is at the lowest point of the day, and this is not, we're not aiming for, is this previous day? So if this is Thursday, this is Tuesday. Nah. So we need to form a point of interest where I can short to the lowest point, not at the lowest point. It's just not going to work out if I'm shorting at the lowest point, right? I like to short two lowest points a day. So here would be your push upwards, looking for, okay, so 10 a.m. does give us a 15-minute swing formation. And now this is where I would like to trade down short here. Let's see if we get a 3-minute. Okay, well, actually, I'm going to take this right here, because I do have a 3-minute CISD already in full effect, as all the assets is already running down lower. Do I still have 2R to this low? I still got 2R to the low, plus a little more. You know what I mean? We'll be fine. Right there. Am I right? Okay, my stops was going to go to break even now that we crossed the lowest point of the day. I always like to go break even as soon as you cross the lowest point. YM or NQ does fail. So just correct asset choice here. I don't know why NQ failed. I was looking at YM as a lot more weaker and the only one with an actual 3-minute CISD. So I can't really say for certain why NQ failed and went up higher. Did it even? Yeah, I really can't say why that failed. Do we get the full flush, or do we get break even? So we get break even there. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why NQ fell, but here's your 15-minute C2, and you can just trade this 15-minute C3 down to the downside, 3-minute CISD, and then this would be your 15-minute C3's closure like that. Boom, 3-minute CISD. Press this back down to the lowest point of the day. That would be the best entry as well. The next best thing anyway. Your stops is already at break even, so and you would have got your you would have got your 3R right there, right? Other than that, break even trade there, not too bad. I'm cool with it, whatever the case may be. So taking a look here at so this is Friday, extreme downwards pressure, looking like a so this is CPI. Honestly, I'll take some longs here. Just being that it is a Friday and this is a 8:30 type move. I'll take some longs just because we want to print the wick of the weekly candle, and I really just want to go back up to CPI's high because that is a data's wick. So it's like, how do we get there? I'd like to see this low get manipulated and 9:30 reverse price, because if 9:30 can reverse price, that's the next most volatile time. Then 9:30 should be able to push us up to the upside. I don't want to trade lower because I don't want to set new lows of fucking weeks. You know what I mean? So that'll be your first CISD here. Well, honestly, it looks like we're gonna keep falling. I ain't going front about that. So, let's see. It looks like it's gonna still fall. So we are bearish as fuck, dude. Wait for that 15-minute swing. And then their 15-minute swing would be back at the lowest point of the day. I don't trade at the lowest point of the day, so that's not for me. Yeah, that's that, bro. I thought we were gonna be bullish here, just to trade back up to those data highs, but obviously not, and we just left them behind. Usually we do go up to there, so I'm pretty certain, or I'm pretty comfortable with looking for those data highs. Looks like an accumulation inside day just based off the profile in itself and just what I'm looking at right here that's frozen on the screen. We do have a very sharp expansion. So the overnight session does expand. Previous days expands. It's like, bro, this is massive expansion into a relevant level. You cannot tell me that we're not going back upwards, but at the same time, it's like, bro, you're trying to catch the fucking knife, dude. We would need to see 9:30 reverse price here, because if not, then we're just going to consolidate right here, because that's what happens after expansion, right? So with that being said, there would be your sweeps. I'm really not trying to trade lower here. Reasoning why I'm not trying to trade lower is because after this much expansion, bro, this much expansion, I can't just keep going and expanding. I need to see different phases happen. Yes, we do have this AMD that did formulate, but even then, bro, it's like, do I really want to trade down lower? Not really, dog. At a relevant level, this just is an accumulation to me. Not really my forte, so to say, right? I'd much rather just let the whole day go. And reasoning why is just too much expansion, bro. Too much expansion. I need to see a different phase in price happen, because if not, we're just fuck. You know what I mean? Market can't just keep expanding forever. We need to see that different phase in price. And here comes a different phase in price, right? So here it is, taps us into this relevant level, accumulation, manipulating out within this 2 a.m. candle. That becomes your high day. Right now, my draw on liquidity is going to be considered this low that's located there. And now we can see that we do have a nice valid 4-hour C2 as forming that high day. We have that expansion met with expansion, opening up of gaps away from this. There's gaps here as well. We can take notice that accumulation taking place right within this range. And that's your daily opening high, setting that expansion, and then we have these gaps holding internal to external, and now we want to trade back down lower to these lows. Now it's just which asset do we want to get it down to those lows, is how do we want to get there. It's really looking like all the assets is pretty much fucking aligned. I'm not gonna front there, and they all look exactly the fucking same. So I don't know if I want to trade away from all of these stacked highs that's looking like that, because on the 3-minute time frame, that's actually it's not entirely that bad. Right, all assets is pretty bearish. I would like to be careful the moment that I tap into these lows, though, because that's very relevant. Extremely relevant lows. Honestly, I'll take it on Y. I can take it on no, because YM's gonna tap into that low, and that can send us into a different phase already. Okay, so we are pushing. Now we can really see that NQ is the guy. Right, so here's NQ being the guy. Setting the high of this 10 a.m. candle now with the 15-minute C2. Ooh, there's no fucking 3-minute CISD here. Fuck me. Okay, so let's see if I can get a 15-minute C2 here. Holy fuck, dude. I don't want to trade this. This is fucked. Straight up. What the fuck is this? I can't trade away from this. You know what I mean? That's impossible. To put your stop loss at any of these highs is impossible. Trading within this leg, impossible. No 15-minute swings, impossible. You really can't trade away from these 3 fucking stacked highs. All of this as well, bro, impossible. You cannot trade away from this. Not putting your stop loss there anyway. That is literally fucking, that's crazy work, bro. At least for me. At least for me. Better to see those get swept. But then now it's just in a total accumulation. This entire day is an accumulation. Reasoning why it's an accumulation, because of the fact that what happened, we just finished expanding, bro. We literally just finished expanding this entire fat leg here. Not like we're going to get that what? Accumulation day. How do you leave an accumulation? By manipulation. Manipulation into where? That internal range liquidity. What is it going to be? An SMT fill, right? So with this being said, I'd want to actually be bullish here and see if I can be bullish within NQ, because NQ is going to get there. It's like 1000% sure it's going to get there. How are we going to get there? By sweeping out a low and then going and closing a strong candle closure above it, right? I wouldn't consider that strong, but that would be considered strong. Once you get that there, then you can go and see if you can frame a trade back down to the downside. You'd want to see NQ, the asset setting that manipulation, to reverse price. The asset that's not setting the manipulation, YM, should be considered the weaker asset. So we should be able to see YM give you a nice push. This is the highest point of the day anyways, so I'm going to have to wait for that secondary CISD. So here's your 15-minute C2 that's forming the high of that 10 a.m. candle. I'm looking for the V-shape reversal, which is happening right now. I'm looking for now a 3-minute continuation entry. So if I can get a nice candle closure beneath this, fuck, I hate these, bro. Look how bad it is. What the fuck is that barcode, bro? Nonetheless, I mean, I'm going to take it just because I'm like, dog. I mean, it's an OB. Don't get me wrong. Holy shit. And then there would be your 2R, right? It's an OB, but holy shit, dude, that's crazy. What the fuck is that? You know what I mean? That's nonsense, bro. This would be your next, all of these highs. You can't really put your stops there. But basically, that's what it is. And you could rip this all the way down if you really wanted to. To all of this low resistance for 7R. Because that's a really nice external, internal type movement. Oh, shit. What the fuck is that? Oh, FOMC. Damn. Well, FOMC did do the 7R move. All right, so whatever. We're done with this session though. So all this was really daily opening high, SMT at that high off of a relevant level, 15-minute swing, setting the high of that 10 a.m. candle, and then we traded down lower back into the range because the asset setting the manipulation and Q does go ahead and impact the high, and then we do see all of this low resistance liquidity becoming your draw on liquidity, impact the high, CISDs and shit like that. What does happen here? 10:30. That's about the time that we took it. NQ does have a CISD. What time do we take the CISD here on YM? Is 10:36. So we waited just a little bit more, and YM does give us that secondary CISD, as there is this firstary CISD, and then so on and so forth. And then we just took it to 2R. We're not obviously not going for 7R every time. You know what I mean? We're just going for 2. 2 is fine. And yeah, that's basically that trade there. So moving on to the next. Okay, so internal, external right now, dropping in on, we are respecting that daily gap. With that daily gap getting respected, this is also going to be looking like there was a SMT break there, this becomes my draw on liquidity here. As you can tell, internal, external, this is Wednesday. This is a Thursday continuation. We do sweep out, setting the high of week here. That's Monday. Tuesday sets the high of week. SMT at the high of week like this. Market is pushing down. We want to see YM fail to manipulate that, and we can trade the lagging asset, which is NQ, down to meet that exact same low to break that SMT. With that being said, we are extremely bearish already. The daily candle does have a nice open high profile, not really tapping into anything of significance. However, we already have tapped into significance on that 1400 candle on the previous day, and now we are just expanding away. If expansion has occurred prior to the driver, then what do we want to see? The driver to make a opposing run back up into the range in order for us to trade back down lower. I really don't want to be shorting at the lowest point of the day here, so it's not really my forte to short down here. Not really my thing. I like to be a little bit higher in this range. I mean, obviously, yes, you could have shorted within that little accumulation pocket here, but it's just like I don't have a stop location that I can really say I trust, especially being this low in the range. I can honestly see market going and ripping up higher first in order to rebalance this shit, and then going down lower, especially around the driver, right? So with this being said, I would just wait for a 15-minute swing formation in order for me to get on side with anything. So here will be your 15-minute push. There would be your 15-minute swing. And then you can short this back down to the lowest point of the day if we get the V-shaped reversal to that CISD. So like this, full body closure, CISD, and then you can short this back down. Oh wait, 1135. I'm a hard pass on it, but that would be your forward test entry. And then there would be your TP for 2R, right? I passed on it because it was 1136. I'm not even at the charts at 1136. I'm not going to lie to you, right? And then you would just short that down to 2R that's located there, right there, right? And your break-even point would be considered which point? The lowest point of the day. But I don't trade at 1135, so that's not for me. Best entry, quite possibly this 33 entry, but like I said, I don't really want to. I don't want to go and trust after overnight expansion. That's not really me, dog. I hate when there's overnight expansion. I need to see a deeper retracement into the range. Again, overnight fucking expansion. Obvious draw on liquidity. All assets are expanding. Weakest asset that's closest to the low, YM. YM overnight expansion. 6 a.m. already expanding. I want to see what a deeper retrace into the range first. Kind of like, you see what I mean? When you do have those very expansive legs already, we can see deeper retraces back into the range, and highs that you think is supposed to be considered protected because there's a CISD and shit is going to be like false highs, right? What the fuck, dude? Well, it ripped up higher, sweeps out this high here, sets that SMT. I'd like to see a displacement lower now. Okay, so here's your 15-minute C2, setting that high, and now we can see the asset that is setting the SMT, reversing price, making that SMT considered valid. PSP, SMT forming the current high of day. We do have a V-shaped reversal on all assets, so I'm going to take the V-shaped reversal here. This is also going to be like that, and then you can go and take this down to where 2R that's located below, and just a little bit past our TP entry. Like this. Stops can go to break. Nah, accept the risk, bro. Now stops goes to break even. And then that would be your 2R, right? As you can tell, simultaneous CISD, SMT at the highs, SMT at the highs. The SMT is confirming that this is going to be considered your highest point of the day, and you can just trade that V-shaped reversal in order for you to get on side with this. And yeah, that's basically that trade there, right? 15-minute swing formation, trading that 15-minute C3. PSP, SMT, 2 stages, cracks, whatever the fucking, whatever it is. I don't know all of that. Cool. Moving on to this guy. So taking a look here, it is a push downwards, extreme bearish order flow. With us being extreme bearish order flow, SMT previous day's high. We can take notice that this is a Friday. This is a Monday. Monday's high is getting set with an SMT. So there is a possible reasoning for us to be bearish here. We can take notice of that push. We want to take a notice of what this is. A very, 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 very accumulative fucking candle. I'm not gonna front to you though. Not gonna lie, I don't like the way that NQ sets this SMT within this gap like that, and it's really not reversing price. If NQ is gonna fail to reverse price here, this 1800 high is gonna be considered revisited. We're just kind of trading within this range here, so it's kind of ugly. I'm not gonna front to you there, but we'll see how 930 reacts to this. If 930 really fails to reverse here, then obviously we're gonna be more so on the bullish end, bearish end or bullish end, right? So we do have this open low profile. Okay, so NQ, fuck, dude, this is fucking insane. Holy shit. I don't know. I really wouldn't touch this. This is bad, extremely bad. There's no high or low of nothing, dog. There's nothing to trade away from right now. Holy shit. This is an ultimate barcode. I'm not gonna front about that. So, oh shit, it's already the 20th, bro. I'm gonna finish up this day, and then we'll finish the session. I can't trade anything in between this range. I'm not gonna front you. This range is fucked. I have not a single idea what is going on here. Might even be a holiday. It's barely moving. Yeah, that's not for me. Definitely not for me, dog. You're trading in between a range. Yeah, not for me. Yeah, not for me. Not for me. Okay, let's go over. Let's do one last day, and then we'll wrap it up. Wrap it up. I ain't never said those words in my life, bro. Get the fuck out of here with those wrap it up shit. Obviously I want to be bearish here. I can't trade like that. Previous day was more so of an accumulation day rather than an expansion day. This is just retracements to go and generate liquidity for me to reach down back into the range to go and tap into it. We are hitting this daily OB that is formulated to the left of us, and we could take notice all of these candles, just massive, like way too much expansion up to the upside, way too much bullish motion, not expansion, right? These are deep candles with a lot of low resistance liquidity. And with this all being said, now we can take notice of that 2 a.m. candle is pretty much putting in the high. I can take notice that the lower day not really ever formed anything of true significance. There's no more reason for us to go higher. We have rebalanced the range. YM is a lot weaker within this range, so we can see YM actually push downwards. There is a possibility that this could be considered your high day based on the expansion away. If we want it to be considered the high day, we'd want to see this 1 hour gap hold. As you can tell this 1 hour gap is holding price currently, and we can take notice that driver is confirming that we are moving away from it currently as well. So with this driver confirmation that we are moving away from that high, you can take notice that this is a accumulation manipulation. So let's see if, okay, so NQ does rip up higher here, sweeps out these highs that's located to the left of us. We want to see NQ react off of those highs aggressively, because if not, we're going to still be bullish here, and I'm not really that bullish here, right? So if I'd much rather just let it go on the bullish momentum than try to trade fucking a bullish play here. Personally, I'd much rather just let the fucking bullish play go. I can't trade bullish, bro. I genuinely cannot trade bullish right now. Yeah, fuck. Honestly, I can't trade bullish, dog. There's no wick on the daily candle. There's no reason for me to go bullish. There's too much failure swings that's located below. There's just way too much reasons for me to go bearish than there is bullish, right? So with this all being said, I would skip out on this trade idea. So it's just like, fuck, there's no entry, there's no trades here, bro. Literally. any fucking day now. What the fuck? Well, I guess that's gonna be that because it's not. It's the whole computer is not loading. So yeah, I'm gonna end the session there, and yeah, away from that, let's go and take a look at the stats. So first half of June, pretty decent. 12R in the first half of June did very decent there. A lot of dubs, one loss. Great job staying a lot out of a lot of trades, I would say. I want to really review this session. This is a really good session. I did really well. What the fuck? Good. Just waiting for that 15-minute C3. That's one thing that I was noticing that I was doing, was really waiting for that 15-minute C3 and just wait for the whole 15 closure, dog. Honestly, I feel like it would save me a lot more losses. And waiting for that's one of the things, the key things that I remember doing is waiting for, if market has expanded, because this was a very expansive market. If market has expanded prior to driver, wait for deeper retracement. All right. Very good there. Very good. But other than that, guys, if you guys like this type of content, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys in the next session. Peace.